and welcome to another Mario Party 8 minigame review.
Last time, we reviewed Saucer Swarm, a very low 5-star minigame that it was just a simple shooter and did have some complex things to it, though. For today's minigame, we got a free-for-all minigame, this one being called Scooter Pursuit. So let's get to this minigame, shall we?
So here's how you play this minigame. You and the other 3 players are on scooters that shoot weird plasma things. They just stun you and for a bit, and that's it. But no, the thing is, your job is to just shoot your opponents as much times in the 30-second time span you're given. The most points wins, and it's pretty much dead simple as that. But to me, I think that this is a better version of Mario Party 6's Cannonball Fun. I might have given that minigame 4 stars in the original review. However, things have drastically changed since then because that was like 4 years ago, and now it's been bumped down to a 3. But here, this is what Cannonball Fun should have been. Instead of a 1st to 5, it should just be most points wins, or do it elimination style. You can do that type of minigame 100 different ways, but here, I still think that this version of the game works pretty well. Although you can easily win this minigame by just staying in the spot that you start in, but I don't think that's the best idea. What I'd recommend doing is that you just be right by with all your opponents, since you can point max really easily. However, it can also lead to your opponents also getting more points in the progress, so that it's either staying out of the chaos and camping at your spot, or being around your opponents and trying to point max as much as you can with a high risk and high reward. I really like this minigame, and also because the controls actually make more sense. Because the controls are pretty finicky on the GameCube, and here they're way more smooth on the Wii. Because like this type of game was built for the Wii, and you can really tell it's a really good minigame. I don't think it's absolutely great, but I still think it's a pretty good minigame that I can constantly replay. But you can do a lot of different strategies depending on the player type. But for the most part, you can just go out of your way and just be careful with who you're around. But although it's going to be pretty inevitable that everyone is pretty much right by each other by the second half of the game. So it's not really unthinkable that the amount of points are going to go up rampantly. And there's at least 1 or 2 players with over 10 points because of this point maxing. But despite that, I will say this is a very good minigame, and I'd recommend go playing it. So with that out of the way, let's just go to the overall thoughts, shall we?
This is what Cannonball Fun should have been. Like, you know, Mario Party 6's Cannonball Fun, like where you're just moving around trying to shoot up your opponents like 5 times. And this is kind of like that, but a lot better. Because you don't have to shoot them 5 times, you just got to shoot them the most times in the 30-second time span. It works way better, and especially since you can just go full ham on how much you shoot. Because, well, it really does recommend that all your opponents, like, everyone is close together. So you can just rack up as many points as you can. And also shifting between various opponents, since there is a 1-second cooldown for when you can get points out of them. It does allow some really creative plays, and you could do a lot of different things. You could stay in the same place, but it can potentially cost you points depending on where your opponents go. Or just stay with your opponents and just risk them shooting you continuously and racking up a lot of points. There's a lot of strategies you can use in this minigame, and I think that makes this minigame work. And for those reasons alone, I'm going to give it 4 stars. It's a good minigame in a lot of approaches, and this is something that should have actually been in Superstars, or at the least, I don't know, something else. I don't know. And that's it for today. Up next, we're going to be reviewing Settle It in the Court. Next, we're going to be reviewing Settle It in Court. See you guys then.